reason for being in existence at this time of the year. And of course with the Nissan 500 it was an ideal opportunity for us to show off our aerobatic display to the New Zealand public.
Is it what you'd call in Air Force jargon a hobby, or is it part and parcel of genuine Air Force training?
Right, the actual aerobatic side of it of course has its basis in our operational flying. Close formation is bread and butter to normal Skyhawk operations. Generally speaking, we'd use close formation, for example, to penetrate any weather or cloud that was on our track. The leader navigating the aircraft and the other members of the formation relying on him. Also during the display you'll see air-to-air refuelling, hopefully, if it's not too bumpy for the boys up there. And that of course is an integral part of our operations as well. If we can air refuel aircraft whilst in the air, then we have increased range, further strike capability out over the sea.
What is the range of the Skyhawk under normal circumstances?
Normally for a ferry range we're talking about a high level trip, say around about 35,000 feet, would go anywhere up to 1,400 miles if we have the right winds. So it's a little bit of a squeeze when we go across to Australia if the winds are too big for us.
Are they just one-seater planes?
Yes, they're all single-seater, except for some of the aircraft are twin-seaters. We use those for obviously dual conversions and the training that's required for the Sky conversion.
And do they have built in the normal combat type equipment such as ejector seats?
Absolutely, yes. Single engine jet operations, obviously you need a backup, and although our servicing's, we think it's the best in the world, there are times when we would expect to have to use the seat. That is a major safety precaution for us. Overall, the aircraft, its primary role, of course, is to deliver weapons, both air-to-ground and air-to-air. So that also has is a big part of the way we operate the Skyhawks at 75 Squadron.
So even though the aerobatics is spectacular, even though it's a big public relations gesture on the part of the RNZAF, it still does have a very important part in exercising and in combat should it ever occur.
Absolutely. The skills that are used throughout the formation displays are intrinsic to our normal operations. In addition to that, in fact, you'll see some, hopefully a little bit of low flying too, not over the city here, but out over the harbour. That's also a very important part of our operations. We pride ourselves in the RNZAF that we're allowed to operate down to 50 feet, which at 1,000 odd kilometres per hour is fairly exciting stuff, obviously.
One thing I couldn't get over, Graham, when I was looking through your publicity pamphlet was the age of some of the flyers. Now, you're obviously yourself just in your early 20s, but you've got other guys up there in this display today who are only 23, 25 years of age.
Right. Well, we train them thoroughly. The guys have all usually got at least 4 years' experience before they get their hands on a Skyhawk. So they're all trained, and it's a fairly rigorous type of training. In fact, I can just hear the radio here, Peter. I believe they're running it at the moment. They should be overhead us.
I'll let you talk to the boss again, Graham.
I don't think he wants to talk to me at the moment. He'll be concentrating on the display.
He doesn't want to talk to you, but the display itself, just a matter of a couple of minutes away. Graham, are you sometimes involved in the aerobatics yourself?
Yes, we've all been through the aerobatics thing, but in this particular display team, it's the most experienced men on the squadron.
Right now, how far away are they from starting, or is this the beginning of it?
They've started, Peter, yes. They've just run in over the top of us there, and we can see Kiwi Red. They've pulled up now for a cardinal loop, and you see them there high over the city. Just changing formation there from the 2-3 ships in stern into the delta position now. That's the arrow-headed formation. Skyhawk looks very nice in formation. It's ideally suited to close formations such as this because of its small delta wing, and the boys can get right in close to each other. We're talking about between 4 and 6 feet, between separation between the aircraft there. So they're obviously operating within quite fine limits. You can just hear Wing Commander Sharp now speaking to the guys as they come round in front of the crowd here. That's a swan fly past. Very graceful formation here. Each of those formation members relying very much on the lead aircraft, Wing Commander Sharp's aircraft. He's got to fly the aircraft very smoothly so that their job at the outside of the formation is made easy.
Red Delta, go.
Formation change there from Swan into Delta. And it's just important for the guys so that it looks good here from the ground to make all those formation changes at the same rate as each other, so that the formation always looks symmetrical.
Red Lancaster, go.
Now the wing commander, he's very experienced at these formation aerobatics. He's been involved now with 5 teams with the RNZAF, 3 of which he's led, so he obviously knows what he's doing up there, Peter.
What height approximately are they operating at, Graham?
They're operating down to 500 feet. You see them as they come through there. Down to 500 feet, but generally the display goes up to about 7,000 feet and down to about 500 feet. That's the Lancaster barrel roll. Very, very difficult for the outside men in the formation there. The A4, as you see, has got a swept wing, and with the cockpit right out in the front of the jet, it's very hard to keep a solid visual reference on the finer movements of the aircraft as they're polling it over the top there.
Red Delta, go.
At Lancaster formation, really just named that in recognition of the old wartime bomber that 75 Squadron flew in during the Second World War.
Red Atlas, go. Foster.
Here the call to Atlas, the 2 outside men moving around, Red 2 and Red 3, Flying Officer Peter King and Flying Officer Don Lamming, and they'll come back now towards us here at the raceway.
Descending for the
And the right-hand turn. And if you've got your camera out there, folks, it's a really good shot. This is they pull up into the vertical, look for a bomb burst that spreads out like a spider's legs.
And easing up. Heading 250. Red, bomb burst, go.
And there it is from below. You can see there's quite a wind up there, Peter. So it's probably a little difficult. And there it is from an aerial shot. Just looks like a big octopus over Wellington there. Quite a spectacle.